No, children are the worst when it comes to playing well with others. And,
Is that the first thing you said after going live?
Yep.
Remind me who your core viewer demographic often is.
Not children.
That's the worst.
And
so we're talking adult.
I'm fairly certain that.
So we're distinguishing between children and adolescents.
Oh yeah, definitely. Adolescents are definitely the worst.
Not helping your yeah.
Let's dig it deeper. More.
Dig it deeper. Dig it
More.
big.
More.
I've got some political opinions. Let's start going through them.
Ooh,
Let's go. Let's go.
Child labor laws are ruining this country.
Cancel who?
Check, please.
Have you played Frostpunk?
I don't know what that is.
I have actually. It's very sad.
Well, Frostpunk is you're trying to survive Ice
Age, basically.
Yeah, the Ice Age, where it's like down in the -40, temperature range. And
Fahrenheit or Celsius?
So the day after tomorrow.
Celsius.
No, come on, Splice. You know the answer to this.
No, I don't. It also wouldn't matter that much because isn't that about where they're the same?
It's where
-20 is where they cross. Yeah. So at that point, yeah, it's not that big of a change. But you do have to decide whether or not to have the child labor laws or not in that game. You could have the children work the mines because the children yearn for the mines.
I see no problem here.
I love that was literally used in the Minecraft trailer.
Wait, what? It was?
That line, the children yearn for the mines, Jack Black says. I don't care. I'm going with my kids and they're gonna have a good time and it'll be okay. Because they're the worst.
But are you going to have a good time?
I could have an excellent nap if it isn't great.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a win-win. I can see what's going on.
See, like, I have been to so many of these things, it's like, oh, look, it's Despicable 3.5. I could use a 2-hour nap in air conditioning.
My favorite was listening to some YouTubers, and one of them was just, and it's like, I'm sorry, what? How many films is this in in this universe? And there's like no one even knows. And then one of them who's like, he's the one who like just knows everything down to autistic detail. It's like, no, this is the 7th one. And it's like, you don't even have kids. Why do you know this?
I will say I've enjoyed the Despicable Me movies, but I had a heart attack to get out of seeing the Minions movie. The
Smart
first
move.
one.
The lore
It's funny
around
because
that
he
event
did.
keeps growing, man.
Oh, there's the Baggett's heart attack lore is deep.
Just don't drink the water. You'll be fine.
Indeed. All right. Well, it is time for us to get started. Here we go. Sophomore year of college, I roomed with Petrivka, and he introduced me to a game series that I had never played, but had always been interested in, called Civ 4. Well, the series is called Civ. The game was Civ 4. I picked Russia because why not? They had Catherine had like creative and stuff, and I started playing it. I was enjoying it. One Saturday night, I was like, okay, I gotta. Let's see. It's about midnight right now. I should, probably go to bed at a reasonable hour. I'll just play till I've wiped out Montezuma here, because Montezuma was being just troublesome as always. Troublesome Montezuma. And then I finished wiping him out, and then I looked up, and it was 4:21 a.m. Somehow, this game had just wiped out hours of time, and I wasn't even aware of it. And it did not feel like 4:21 a.m. And I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what time travel device Civilization was. And don't know what he got me into. All I know is Civilization was keeping me up all night. This is episode 42 of I Think We Overleveled, and we're just talking about games that just kept you up all night.
Troublesome Montezuma is the name of my Stone Temple Pilots cover band.
Ooh, I like that one. That's a good one. No, this episode is entirely because literally last night I was playing Path of Exile 2, and they have a side mode that's sort of like a roguelike, and I was so close to beating it. I'm like, okay, I can do this, and then it was midnight, and I'm like, oh crap, I have to be up at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I've done that a time or two.
So
There are certain games that I've forbidden myself from playing again.
So just getting into it, Civilization.
it's literally the one more turn game.
Yes, I mean this is the first, and I don't know what other game franchise. I'm sure there are others, but like this is the first game I was aware of that had a clock built in because they knew that they had an issue.
Well, as I remember the next day when I complained about it, I think you told me it's like you do know there's a clock that you can turn on, right?
I don't think Civ 2 had a clock though.
No, that was a later. I think maybe Civ 3 had it, maybe, but I know for sure Civ 4 did.
Just easy, lose track of time.
And my personal opinion, Civ 4 is the best of the series. And it's the most egregious of this for me, at least. It's just there's something satisfied about progressing in that game, and a lot of it I think has to do with Leonard Nimoy's voice.
Oh yeah, just
because every time you research something, the soothing voice, tones of Mr. Spock start.
You can get a lot more with a kind word and a gun than you can with just a kind word.
Now,
forever burned into my mind.
I started the series on Civ 1, but 4 I think is the one that's kind of taken over my my memories of the whole thing. It also has one of my favorite quotes from a roommate who I got into it. Because he was playing I finally got him to play it, and he started playing the sort of tutorial campaign. And after it was over, he walks up to me and he's just like, "So I just killed Gandhi," and he moves on past that. I was like, "Wait, back up, context, please." But yeah, so because the opponent in that tutorial campaign is India, and so Gandhi is the leader of it.
Now, Gandhi's infamous because they put his peaceful rating in the first one so low that it goes into the negatives, and then he becomes hyper aggressive, and that's just become a meme ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No. Is Civ 4 everyone's favorite Civ?
Well, I've only played 1 and 2.
So what's your favorite?
So 2 is still my favorite. 2 is amazing.
Well, if you try 4, just tell your wife and kids I'm sorry and that I understand how much they'll miss you.
No, that's what Satisfactory's for.
Well, yeah. Well, yes. There. Yes, I don't have a video queued up of it, but Satisfactory is definitely one of those. I could have Satisfactory get
You all missed the Satisfactory-based pre-show between Lunasar and Petrifica.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, there were times where it's like
I'm a neophyte compared to Looney here, but
well, okay, goodness. Sometimes. Splice, you would get me on these oh, you should watch all these 2-hour long podcasts, So I just put them on while playing Satisfactory until 3 in the morning.
Well, I actually think that's a good point. I think a lot of these games have that trait where it's not so engaging usually that you can't do something else. And I think that's part of what lends to its sort of time warp ability.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially in the case of Satisfactory, because even though that Satisfactory requires a lot of thought and planning, but once you've made a plan, it's just hours of execution, and once you've built up your factory, it's just running. It doesn't require any input from you. And
if
so
you
then,
did it well.
and then there's a point where you're just kind of, surveying your factory, trying to identify, less efficient portions, and then beefing that up and trying to make it more efficient.
Which is always for me, but yes.
But but the thing is with that is, even though it's kind of honestly, engineering. I mean, I'm an engineer.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's...
Even though, yes, you have to think really hard, but then there gets to a point where you're just testing and executing and, kind of debugging and watching, and, there's a lot of time that you kind of can do something else at the same time.
Satisfactory to me looks like Nerd Snipe the game.
Yeah.
Looks like what? I'm sorry, I didn't get
Nerd Snipe. So it's the old XKCD comic where it's like a billboard that's just a bunch of like resistors in a very complicated
link in
circuit.
chat here, guys. I don't know it.
I'll have to find it, but it's just, and then the guy gets hit by a car because it's like, I call it nerd sniping. Because every nerd stops like, okay, wait, how would you start to, and you just start to, you get lost in the problem solving of it. And Satisfactory seems to scratch that itch. But no, it's just, I don't know, there's something about that. Now, one of my other ones that I get stuck on and I have to be careful with. And
I mean, to say that, I was just going to say, like, it's clearly built for nerds and nerd sniping in every way possible. I mean, all of the buildings have a serial, well, I guess a part number to it, and all part numbers are in leet. It's great.
Yeah, that's definitely, that's catering to your base.
Yeah, absolutely. Like smelter and like constructor, it's like all of them, it's like, smelter is, spelled out, 5M3 1T3R. It's like, yeah, I see what you're doing there. So yeah, no, it is absolutely nerd snipe the game. No,
Minecraft back in the day was also one of these for me where it's just, you can get lost in just building stuff forever. And then, I need to go get those resources. I'm going to do that. Oh, but you know what? I need a diamond sword for me to go fight some zombies. So I'll go back into the mines, get a few more diamonds, and then just, although that got a lot more complicated when they removed the exploit where if you threw an item on the ground, it would forget how much durability it had lost and it'd keep it forever.
Oh, those were good times.
Oh, those were the days.
Yeah, like that was pre-scarcity times.
Yeah. Yeah,
back in the days when the only scary thing was a creeper because there was no damage, so you couldn't damage the creeper and kill it, so you heard it was going to go boom.
It was like, no, my stuff. No, but there's something about just the slow but stable progression, I think, tends to be a staple of these games.
And I think also an aspect of a self-paced sort of goal or self-imposed goals, because I like a lot of games tend like, oh, you got to complete the level, beat the boss, or solve this, that, or the other thing, and a lot of these games will have large overarching types of things, but like there's always like, oh well, I really want to do X, and so I'm like, okay, well I'll just play until I achieve X. But the developers know, like, well, I didn't budget how much time that was going to take you, so have at it.
Well, and the other thing is, because it's divided into such short units, it's kind of like there are certain books, particularly popular in YA, that have very, very short chapters, and often will end on a cliffhanger, and so you're always wanting to say, okay, just one more chapter, one more page, one more. And in this is just one more year. It's just one more little thing, one more small thing that I can justify.
Just one more iron node, bro. I swear that'll be it.
One more iron node. Oh, I just want to get this going from, 30 units a minute to 60 minutes a unit. That's all I want to do.
But it makes it so that it's easier to justify it.
Because honestly, for me, books is a much bigger issue than video games. It's like if I get to a part in a book where I can't put it down, the sun starts rising before I realize what time it is.
Yes, the avalanches, for example.
Oh, we've talked about that from time to time.
Yeah. See the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmic Studies. Anyway, the So it's interesting you talked about how there's not normally like a boss or something. One of the ones that really sucked me in terms of just, even though it's not the typical thing, it's Hades. I had to stop playing Hades at night.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
Hades can also do this.
Well,
Dude, Hades was a vice for you. I remember.
Oh, I love Hades. It's similar. Strangely, it's similar to Civilization because it's one more turn. This time it's one more run. That's all I'm doing is one more run.
I don't know. The runs were long enough that I'm like, okay, I'm good.
But the thing is, like, I'd be sitting here just
you get the boons you don't want, and you're like, man.
Yeah. Well, and especially when you beat a run of Hades with just a crap build, it feels so good. But at the same time, you're just like, I didn't get the itch scratched. I'm looking for something, especially if you're at the point where you're still getting like major plot points of the story for going through, because you have to,
especially the first clear,
Yeah, the first clear, but even like, because I think it's like, to get the full breadth of...
You have to clear it several times, yes.
I think it's like 10 times you have to clear it, which is not an easy feat. It's actually a really difficult thing. I mean...
Yeah, well, 10 times... Well, that's not even the end of the story, because I feel like
it's not.
I don't even think I finished that story, but I at least got to the credits you're talking about.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, get to the credits, once you get to the credits, you've gotten through what I consider the plot.
Yeah.
Or at least the main game.
Yeah. No, because the real plot is,
Is that when you get through all of the, like, the repeats and that, etc.?
Yeah, and so in that case, what,
I'm trying to be intentionally.
Yeah, it's hard to not just spoil.
Yeah.
Let's just say you go for a boat ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, and then there's, there's some stuff.
But then they have the additional challenges.
Yeah, they have additional challenges. They have the Pact of Punishment you can start having fun with.
Yes.
You can try and get all the fates done. Cause this is the still
all the weapons.
Yeah, this is still my greatest gaming achievement, getting the 32 heat run.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, because they have the 3 covered statues in Skelly's room, and you're like, what's underneath these things? And it's like, oh, you have to beat 1 with 4 packed, or no, 8 packed, 16 and 32, and they're incredibly underwhelming on purpose. Because at that point, because the developers have talked about it, they don't want people to feel like this is you have to do this to complete the game. That's like this is supposed to be a cherry on top that you
this is for true completionists, not necessarily for people who just want to.
Yeah, these are for the people who want to truly get good at the game and get some type of reward for it. And so, I'm going through it, but even going through it as many times as I have to get that, I'm still running into dialogues that I haven't gotten before. Which
it's chock full.
Well, because sometimes you used to be like, you're using some obscure relic and you run into a god that has some history with whoever originally had that relic, and they have some line. You're just like, whoa, how have I not heard this before? The achievement that still drives me insane that I can't believe people have done is people who beat the game on the first run through. So before you have any of your upgrades whatsoever. Which, there's nothing for it except for
not even the mirror upgrades or anything.
Yeah, no mirror upgrades, no weapon upgrades. It's just literally your first run, and you beat Hades on the first run with just the base sword and nothing else.
There's special dialogue for that.
I think he might say something for you showing up. I don't know if he has one for defeat. There's definitely a dialogue because it's one of the achievements for the game, I think it is like, or no, it's one of the weapons. You can get there without getting any of the god boons. So you still can get like Daedalus hammers and stuff like that, but none of the god boons. And he'll have the dialogue option for that, where he's just like, oh wow, for once you've done it without begging my siblings for help.
Wow.
And it's just, which again just shows the devs thought of everything, I believe, is the trope. But no, and because of that, it leads to, I just keep playing this game over and over. And I'll still, every once in a while, although less so now because Hades 2's out now and almost done. And so I can play that now.
Anytime I wander into your room and see you play it, though, I'm just like, oh no, it's starting again.
Yeah, I just need that. I need that gameplay itch. There's something about the Hades gameplay loop that is just satisfactory, if you will.
Are you enjoying Hades 2 as much as 1, or is it not quite as good?
Well, right now it's in the beta phase.
Yeah, it's
so
still not
fair
complete.
enough. Hard to judge.
Early access.
Yeah, and so I'm definitely enjoying it. It's different it's different in a way that I appreciate. I don't know if I'm going to like it as much, but I'm definitely enjoying it. And so,
right, cool.
I mean, it's a completely different character you're playing, and she has completely different gameplay. It still has the same loop, but she's a witch, like, and much more in the sort of.
Right, she's connected to Hecate, isn't she?
Yeah, Hecate, yeah. And the way they're playing it feels more hedge witchy to me. And so her different weapons, instead of having I forget which button, it's the top button. I think it's the special button. Instead of having a special, or maybe instead of throwing blood like he does, she casts
magic.
Yeah, she casts a spell, and she literally has MP. And so some of the boons you can get from the gods are ways to restore MP, but there's some things that do the reverse, where it's actually like locks you out of a certain amount of MP for some other effect, which then can synergize with someone who they have effects for when you're at low mana and stuff like that. And so it actually feels more powerful than him because you have a resource to manage more so than just, you have 3 charges of blood or whatever. But they, as they tend to, come up with interesting ways to play with that. The other thing is, at least I haven't found so far, there's no Athena dash to reflect stuff, so you're forced to play more carefully than before.
Indeed.
Yeah, Zagreus where you get the reflect and then you're just spamming dash everywhere.
Oh yeah, just everywhere, because it's just like, I don't want to.
Especially if you compare that up with Hermes, where you get multiple dashes.
Well, I mean, honestly, no matter who you use for your dash, you're just spamming that constantly.
Yeah. Well, and so it has she has a dash. I don't think she has any abilities based on the dash. She also has a sprint, which is if you hold the dash, she'll start running, and they have abilities tied to that.
Interesting.
And I think it's specifically to avoid the dash is more powerful. Like I think it just does a better job at, not letting you take damage, but they wanted to avoid every good run needs Athena reflect problem they had the last time. At least that's what I think they're going for. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I lost a lot of time to this game, especially late at night. Okay, I want to ask this one. Did anyone ever get in trouble for playing a game too late growing up?
Oh gosh, all the time.
What game was it for you?
That I don't recall. Like it happened frequently, so it was just whatever game I was playing at the time.
Petrivka, Lunasar?
I was a fairly responsible kid. I never stayed up too late. It was really only in college I started mismanaging my time, so to speak.
Typically for me, it was whatever JRPG I was playing at the time.
Yeah, JRPG. I know when I had to share a TV with my siblings, it was certainly more often, but once I actually had a TV in my bedroom to play video games on, I never got bothered about it really anymore from that point.
See, that was the exact problem for me, because back when it was only on the shared TV in the TV room, I couldn't just play games till late into the night because parents are there because it's the TV.
Exactly.
But then I became a teenager. My parents decided, Jordan's always clogging up the TV with his video games. Let's get him a small personal TV. And so they did. And it was in the middle of the N64 era. And the game that got me in trouble to me is hilarious. I got in trouble because of Mario Golf for the N64.
Mario Golf? What?
You were
That's
golfing way
unexpected.
Okay, so again, this goes into last week's topic a little bit of it was there. I had already beaten Banjo-Kazooie. Smash Bros. Single player on the 64 can only get you so far. But meanwhile, this game actually had a pretty long progression system into it. And now the progression system was literally just, you keep unlocking the next character. And you then go to the next course and you're trying, and then they have all these little mini modes that, you could do. And I was just playing this over and over again, way late into the night. And my brother was like 1 or 2 years old. So he'd wake up and it was 5 kids in a 3-bedroom house. So it was, there's no way of escaping this. And so he's in the room with me. All 3 of my sisters are in the other room. And so sometimes he'd wake me up and I would just start playing because I'm awake. And I got in trouble for it because, I don't know, I guess I had the volume on or something. I don't know. I must have made some rookie mistake.
So
Stop
that's
playing Mario
interesting.
Golf.
So for me, the one I didn't get in trouble for this. This is the first time though I remember ever staying up past midnight. And that is this is an old school game that a lot of people may not even know about. Have y'all ever heard of Street Fighter 2010, The Final Fight?
I'm sorry, what?
No.
This game
sounds like a knockoff almost, but okay.
This game was a spin-off of the NES Street Fighter.
Wait, there was an NES Street Fighter?
So not Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter.
That got an NES port?
Maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
I mean,
it's a spin-off of Street Fighter.
I'm reading this and it says Ken has no interest in the frontier.
Oh, this game was all about the English, and it was the American
astronaut in this one?
The American localization was changed so that the main character was Ken from Street Fighter.
And he's a cyborg? That's nothing some good bionics can't fix? What?
Exactly. This game is insane. It's absolutely ridiculous.
How have I not seen some random video by Video Game Donkey on this?
Yeah, how have I never heard of this? This is crazy.
Wild.
I remember because this is one of the first NES games I bought for myself. I saw it. I was intrigued. I didn't even know about Street Fighter at the time. And because it's a platformer. It's not even a and it's
not even a fighter.
It's not even a fighter. It's a weird kind of platformer too, because you're jumping around and there are certain enemies and you have to kill a certain number of them. And once you do that, a portal opens up and you have to fight a major boss. And then you jump into the portal and it takes you to another level.
Okay. Ground rules, everyone. I don't care what we talk about. We are leaving it on here to completion. Because I have to see what this is.
So this game, this is the first game I ever stayed up past midnight playing. And I was over at my cousin's house and we started playing this. Neither of us really understood it. And it took forever for us to really figure out how to even play this game.
I can't even tell what you're supposed to stand on here.
It's like a weird Mega Man port.
It's kind of Strider as well to a degree.
A little bit, but anyway, I remember staying up, past midnight, and because the other thing about this game, it's freaking hard, and so we would just stay up and die and start over and just keep trying, and oh my gosh, and I don't even remember if we ever finally beat it.
Final fighting it, beating it.
But like this.
Did you beat it by
Yeah,
2010?
No, I don't think I've ever. If I didn't beat it that time, I don't think I've ever beaten it. But again, I don't remember.
Target versus Ken. Why is Ken taking on Target?
Because he needs to stay on target.
I just love that it's just
So it's
Target. They didn't bother
It's
giving
a
any of them
it's a
names.
platformer, but a very small area where you actually are platforming in.
Yes.
It's like
Although there's other level like
It's like
there
an
are different
arena
levels.
platformer.
that's wild.
I'm glad I could introduce y'all to this because this is just a very
it's
fond
crazy.
memory.
All I know is this is the exact sort of like random video game trivia that I feel like should be in my repertoire.
This is like
But
when
isn't.
Baggins dropped on me that Sega stood for serial games, and I'm like, I feel like I should have known
Service
that already.
games.
Service games, whatever.
games.
Either way, I felt like I should have known it by now. Just felt like something I should know. This is something I feel like should have come up on my YouTube feed somewhere. I don't know where,
now-
but somewhere.
Well,
Now
someone
you have-
needs to make
now you
a
have new
YouTube
content
video on
here,
this
yeah.
game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this game and Captain Novolin. Like, those are my obscure what the heck was that and why did I spend so much time on it games.
This is so weird.
I'm like,
Oh my
what are
goodness.
those things you were
But
jumping on?
like I said, the American localization retconned it so that this guy jumping around is Ken. And he's been like cybernetically enhanced. He's a scientist himself. It's like it's
I
all
am now
kinds of
really
what in the
bad.
world.
This is not a skin for Ken in Smash Brothers.
That would be amazing.
Entirely convinced that this was originally a Street Fighter game.
Yeah, is this?
I'm
this
not
had to be
entirely convinced this is
something else.
real.
This is actually referenced in like other Street Fighter materials.
I feel like this is like a Super Mario 2 kind of thing, where it was a different game and they just decided to put
a
it.
lot of people thought it was, but like it's been.
Oh, what? He climbs on walls? That's
Okay, I had the same reaction.
I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, what?
Yeah, because the character's name in like the Japanese character's name.
Okay, the
Was,
backgrounds for
was
this
Kevin.
game are actually really good. For an NES game,
I mean,
Yep.
this is detailed.
Yep.
There's
you
no
could
way
convince
this
me
was
this is supposed to
developed
be a
as
Green Lantern game, that he just doesn't have anything besides physical punches.
I feel like this has to be something they decided to make Street Fighter after the fact. There's no way they developed
Right,
this.
that's
I need
why
to
I
find
feel
out
like this is
history
like-
on
this is-
this.
Maybe it was something else. I don't know.
But yeah, it seems like the U.S. localization is the one that made it Ken, but
Yeah, because in the Japanese version, the character's name is Kevin Straker.
okay.
But yeah, the Japanese title of it
Boy,
translates
that boss
to
went down
2010 Street
easy.
Fighter.
Because he was just dropping cubes. That's all he could do.
I think it's
Well, it's that
Minecraft or
Big
something.
2 boss.
But yeah, so the Japanese title translates to 2010 Street Fighter. And apparently the character Kevin has been referenced in tie-in material.
Wow.
Bonkers.
So
Yeah.
and now it might be something that was was developed as something else, but it wasn't by the local, like it was before the localization that they actually
Yeah, no.
made the change.
That's what the wiki makes it look like. Man, I still can't believe there hasn't been like an in-depth, video on this. This is, especially with the name Street Fighter, it would
Yep.
definitely be
No,
the perfect material.
Okay,
This
I
is
remember
insane.
all of these levels, so I'm fairly certain I have beaten this.
We're gonna find
Just beat
out.
Big Daddy.
But yeah, it's just
And that looked like Medium Daddy to me.
Yeah,
this game is like integral to my childhood.
I love how it's
Oh, we got a
fade
cutscene.
in to open
We
a
got a
portal.
cutscene.
Holy crap, cutscenes are rare in NES games. Who?
Yeah, they really
There,
are.
how do you know my name? That's not important. Why do you pursue me, Ken? You
is like,
killed my best friend.
Yeah, this is like
Didn't
Ninja
he
Gaiden
kill your
style-
father?
Ninja Gaiden style cinematics.
Man.
Man, what? So what were we covering tonight?
Because this level was horrifying.
I think we just
I
got
remember being
completely
so
derailed by this weird game.
What?
Yeah,
Man,
I had a feeling
especially with splicing, we're not going to move the video.
no, I have to know where this goes. I am invested.
It's 30 minutes long. So.
I had a feeling this might derail things a little
But
bit.
look at this. It's like if Metroid had an acid trip. What is this level?
Yeah, it's wild.
And this is on the NES.
Well,
I can't
looks
believe
like a cross between
Yeah.
an Aryan Super Metroid and Battletoads is what this looks like.
Yes. That's exactly what this looks like.
Yeah, this came out in 1990 on the original NES.
So this is even before they made Street Fighter 2.
This is before the SNES.
Man, imagine if this game had been a success. This was the direction Street Fighter was gonna go.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like everyone will know the name Ken Straker.
No, Kevin Straker.
Or Kevin Straker.
He's not even fighting on a street. I don't, man. This is
Yes, and Final Fantasy keeps coming out with sequels.
Target Fighter 2010.
He's apparently
yes,
a
it's now
retired
Final
Street Fighter.
Sci-Fi by this point. Fair enough.
He's apparently retired Street Fighter at this point. So yeah,
And got a mech suit.
Hey, like I mean, they even animated his crossing over on this thing. I mean, like they put some detail work in this.
this was a good time for Capcom.
Like I actually I am legitimately shocked that game can pull off what it's pulling off. Like I didn't think there were enough layers for them to do stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is I'm legitimately impressed.
maybe
Oh,
we
you can
could
climb
devote an
water
entire
apparently.
He's climbing a waterfall. Interesting.
How has he not died? Oh my
It's
goodness.
not a waterfall; it's a plant, and sap is running down the side of it.
Okay.
Sap is gushing down the side of it.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely gushing.
I think it's moving pretty fast to climb it. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Okay,
This is
someone
Ken, remember?
someone bring up a different game. I'm gonna keep watching this.
I think I've done my work.
Well, okay. I guess to get back kind of in the whole one more day, one more turn, I did have a video for it, but I guess you want to watch this.
Yeah, no, I'm pulling rank on this. I need to find out where this goes.
But Stardew Valley's one.
Oh
like,
yes,
I wasn't too bad about one more Hades run.
Star
but-
Crack Valley.
But what, like one more day in
It
Harvest
really is.
Moon or Stardew Valley, and that's another one where you kind of make your own goals. Like, I
Yes,
want to get
absolutely.
this in this
Yep.
time frame, and yeah, you just like, I just want to, collect
Just
this
wanna
much
get
money
married.
or this. Got to get married, and one more day, one more day, one more day.
I've got 467 hours in this game, and
I
haven't
thought you
played
had
it,
more than that.
and I haven't played it for several years. Or not? I guess not several years. I guess I last played it last March, but I haven't played it regularly in several years.
This is one I've never seen the appeal.
You're not the target demographic.
Farming sim, social sim, and light
Dating sim.
and light action RPG, I guess.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember the first time I saw it advertised in the Nintendo Power. It was a must-buy for me when...
You mean Harvest Moon?
Yeah, Harvest Moon, yeah.
Oh, I was like, what?
It's
No,
like Stardew Valley was never.
No, don't you guys remember Stardew Valley 2010, The Final Farm?
No.
Fair
Kevin
enough.
Straker must find love.
But, I mean,
play
yes,
it.
I was including Harvest Moon in that, but I'm just saying the first time that concept was, in creation was Harvest Moon. And when they teased it in Nintendo Power in the Epic Center, I'm like, I need to have this. And I even made this giant argument to make to my parents about how, this game will have so much replayability because there's this many different choices of bachelorettes and making the family and each playthrough takes this much time and how I'll get so much gameplay out of it, and just kind of argue justifying getting this game, even though I don't know why I was that worried about it. My parents are, giant gardeners and farmers, so, they were probably jumping for joy at the concept of that game compared to others, but
Maybe it was just the cost.
yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, it did come. No, it didn't come in like.
I mean,
a
it would have
huge
been a
thing,
whole
but,
like $35 back then.
It's a simple life, but
But then again, not every game released at a given price. Like some
No.
Super Nintendo games were like $70 back then, which I still don't understand why that was a thing. But yeah. But still,
Do you know how many people died in the video game mines for that game?
Say what?
Do you know how many people died in the video game mines for that game?
The video games mine. 2? I don't know. But I don't know. The concept of Harvest Moon always appealed to me. A lot of people needed to really see it in action in Stardew Valley to really get it. Which is funny when people were trying to tell me, hey, have you heard of this game called Stardew Valley? It's so chill and da-da-da and all this stuff. And, this is someone who was looking forward to the release of Harvest Moon before the first Harvest Moon came out.
I was right there with you.
Oh, were you a day one buy of Harvest Moon as well?
I wasn't a day one buy because I didn't have parents that was really even a thing. But
well, for me,
as soon as I saw it, I was like, the instant I could rent it, I did.
Yeah, well, for me, like the how I got day one buy is because I would ask my parents, "Hey, for my birthday, I want this game that comes out a month after my birthday," sort of thing.
Yeah, that wasn't really how my parents worked. My parents weren't really fans of video games at all, but there was a lady who was who was their friend who was also a good friend of mine, and she was kind of my agent who would incept ideas to them. But the problem was I had to be very, very selective of what I sent her for.
Got it. But honestly, Harvest Moon was even worse than Stardew Valley for the one day more, because Harvest Moon, in later Harvest Moons, they got more picky about the clock running. But in the original Harvest Moon, every time you were inside, the clock stopped. And that
the other thing... No, keep going, sorry.
That also included like your chicken coop and your barn for the cows.
Yeah.
But
the other thing
after 5 o'clock, the clock just stopped. Like,
I thought it was 2 o'clock.
Well, no. In the original Harvest Moon, like it got to 6 p.m. actually, and like the person would come and pick up what you shipped at 5. So anything that you put in the shipping bin after 5 just was lost.
I thought the clock went to 2 a.m. and just froze.
No, I'm pretty sure as soon as it hit night, it immediately froze, and I think that was at 6 p.m.
Huh.
I think there were... I know the clock in more modern games stop at 2 in the morning, but I'm pretty sure...
For some reason, I remember it going all the way. It's been forever since I played it, so I could easily be remembering wrong.
I'm pretty sure it's like at 6 p.m. It's as soon as the sun goes down.
If only there was some resource that we could consult to figure this out.
I know, like a wiki, or even just pulling it up on our Switch, since it's in the Switch Online.
Right. But no, the thing that was great though is you could clear out your entire field in one night.
Which I'd always do.
Because if you run out of stamina, you go to the hot spring and regenerate all your stamina.
Yep. And I do it the first night, even with the crappiest tools.
Yep.
And so it's like that first day took forever, but
then you're sitting pretty.
But like if you had a full barn and a full chicken coop, it took you forever. Like one day more would take like an hour, just because you could only hold one item at a time. That is something that I'm grateful changed.
Well, not only could you only hold one item at a time, but it was so easy to drop those items and destroy them.
Why is Kevin Starker or whatever his name in hell now?
He's not. He's surfing down a sand waterfall.
It's sap. It's all more sap.
It's sap all the way down.
Sap all the way down.
You're a sap all the way down.
Mm.
Some flow at different rates, apparently.
Such a less viscous sap, apparently.
Sorry to take over again.
I
He
asked
just
a
casually
question.
kills Shai Hulud. Yeah.
But yeah.
Good reference.
So, especially when you can go forever, the 1 day more is a bigger problem than
Yes.
when it limits you. But then again, if I remember, Civilization kind of got that way too, where, one turn more at the beginning is nothing, but by the end it's like...
Yeah, it could be 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes of just you moving, units around the entire map.
Oh, okay. All right. Now I'm going to show my over-leveling. So,
especially like the first game where you cover the entire map with trains so you could go from one end of the planet to the other in one turn.
Yeah. The teleporting railroads. Those are incredible.
Yeah, teleporting railroads. That's right, my friend.
So, I don't know what your experiences on turn times ever were, but boy, I started on Civ 3, and this was something that really pushed. It was probably the closest I ever got to actually getting in trouble for staying up late. And it wasn't just because the one more turn thing, but it was because the AI part of the turn on our potato machine for Civ 3, or the way that it was coded, you would be waiting helplessly for, I kid you not, like as much as 5 to even 10 minutes for your turn to finally come around, because I, of course, would only ever play on the huge maps, because of course I wanted to have as much territory and as many AI opponents as possible, but that I paid for.
Paid for with your time.
I don't remember that being too much of a problem, even on a potato for Civ 2, but
Civ 3 was bad. Civ 4 I don't think ever.
It's probably because they put a lot more thought into the AI.
And I played Civ 4 on a cow computer, and it still did okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the... Wow, I haven't thought of cow computers in a long time. But no,
the gateway. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Gateway.
Oh man. You had the fancy stuff, dude. I was stuck with Packard Bell.
But no, I think because if I remember correctly, I think Civ 4 actually properly spawns things that are in the fog of war. So they still move and stuff, but it just takes less to move them.
Right.
But
the older games, I don't think did that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could turn off the the show movement and everything, but it wouldn't, it would just sit and grind in Civ 3. It was just oof. I mean, that also was when I discovered mods, to be fair.
Oh no. As someone with over 200 mods in XCOM, I know exactly where this is going.
I did not have 200, but I had 5 or 6.
Son, you got a condition.
I wanted more options than just the 5 governments that they had. I wanted a constitutional monarchy.
Yeah, it's a problem. They don't respect us who need more options.
Well, stepping back to talking about mods, we can step back a little bit to Stardew Valley. There have been mods that have been put out for that game that basically make it a sequel to itself. Stardew Valley Expanded is just it adds tons of new characters,
dialogues,
and areas, dialogues. It's crazy. And so, when I discovered that, it's like, oh, I'm addicted to Stardew Valley again. Let's add another couple 100 hours. So
you're not addicted to Stardew Valley anymore. You're addicted to all of Stardew Valley. Because
expanded Stardew Valley,
the Stardew Valley extended universe.
Well, and now I've got the same thing going on with Fields of Mystria. Fortunately, since it's in early access right now, I started recognizing, okay, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm missing out on, so I'm just going to hold off. So I kind of paused my play of it. But man, that game is good. If you like, Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon and that whole genre, Fields of Mystria is an excellent entry.
They keep advertising to me, so yes.
Yeah, I did pick it up since you recommended it, and especially since I kind of want to make a game in that vein. I figured I should look and see what you love about it so much and learn from it.
Have you played it at all, or are you?
No, I haven't played it at all. I've actually been mostly trying to clone the original Harvest Moon, and you know what? The sprite work in the original Harvest Moon is actually excellent.
It really is.
It really is.
I mean, like it was an old it did some really interesting stuff with early, like very unadvanced method, whatever. You know what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just thinking like I've bought sprites that I can legally use.
Bought
and purchased, whatever. I've bought, purchased, acquired.
This is what you tune in for.
I just love it when people
I like
make
games
up
of
words.
strategery. Anyways,
Smart move.
But
Box.
I've actually bought art assets I could use, but comparing it to just the old school Harvest Moon sprites, I'm like, man, Spriter's Resource, just those old sprites, at least while I'm learning stuff and playing with it, obviously can't be in a final version, but man, those Harvest Moon sprites are fantastic. Much better than the ones I purchased.
It was almost like it was made by professionals. What on earth is the target here?
I have no idea.
That guy was fighting someone that was swimming in the air. I don't know, man.
It's like some sort of plant thing.
And Metroids.
It's that one boss in that to get the super missile in Super Metroid, right?
Oh, it's like the proto version of it. Okay, I like what you're going for here. This is actually a prequel to the Metroid universe.
No, this is not a crossover.
So you tell us. But no. Anyway, Harvest Moon.
You could just see the processor struggling.
Oh wow, it's having a hard time with the sprites there.
Just so much going on screen.
There's a reason they had limits of on games back then. It's like, yeah, you can only draw this many actual sprites.
I mean, I don't know. Some of those old school sprite artists they were amazing, especially like in the NES. I mean, just think of something as simple as like the old RPGs where they just have like 8x8 pixels, and with 64 pixels, they can make hundreds of characters that you can tell apart. And I'm like, how did they do this? I don't know. It's impressive.
They're good. They're definitely good. All right, so Harvest Moon, like I said, it's one that I never understood it as far as like the appeal of it, but another one that clearly seems to be like that, and I have no experience with, is the Animal Crossing series.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Animal Crossing, it's like Stardew very light, in my opinion.
The thing is someone who is, crazy for Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley and Rune Factory and all of those games and, Factorio and Satisfactory, to me, those are all kind of in the same vein, even though some of those are very different from each other. Animal Crossing just doesn't appeal to me as much. Like, some people get into it. I played New Leaf because that was one that was very popular.
Well, it was also very accessible.
And it was very accessible. And, I enjoyed it a little bit, but there was enough things about it that I'm like, I just can't really get into it. Because, I mean, the way you earn money, it's not like you can really plan ahead,
well,
like you can in Harvest Moon. Like, oh, I'm going to get this much money with these crops. It's just, okay, it's a new day. What's available for me to, go find and make money with?
See, I wouldn't put Animal Crossing, at least for me, on this kind of level of, or in this category, because Animal Crossing for me wasn't a game that you sit down and play and play and play and play and play and play and oh my gosh, what time is it? Animal Crossing is a game that you play for a little bit every day.
Yeah, it's a very
Well,
chunky, like you do your little rituals almost for like 20,
Well,
30 minutes. And
I guess to actually bring it to the current topic, I almost felt like Animal Crossing was an unplayable game because, it'd be late at night when I had time to play, but the way Animal Crossing
tied
works,
to the clock, yes.
it's tied to the real life clock when it's just like,
Mhm.
oh, well, just like in real life, you can only do certain things in the middle of the day. And I'm like, yeah, but in the middle of the day, I'm doing those things in real life.
Right.
It's when it's late and I can't go to a store that I want to go in a store in this game, but I can't because you tied it to the real clock. It's like they designed that game to make you not have a real life, and that really ticks me off. That's
just
actually
why it worked so well when the Switch version came out during COVID.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
That's why-
It was a way for, because it had the online, it was a way for people to visit with each other when they were afraid to leave their houses.
So yeah, talk about game that came out at the exact right time through no
Yeah.
through no skill of their own.
That is a very good point.
No, like 'cause that was, and it'll forever be tied with Doom for me.
That's right, because it was the same day release, I think.
Yeah, well, and Doom was hyping it up the entire time. Like it's entirely because the Doom team clearly early on said this will be fun. And so, like, when Nintendo announced there's going to be an Animal Crossing Direct, the Doom Twitter account asked, "Is Isabel going to be there?" And then every time they would say anything about Animal Crossing, the Doom Twitter account would respond, and everyone's like, "Is this game coming out the same day as you guys?" And they're just like, "I know, we're really excited too."
Well, and if you want to watch some amazing music video work, look up Doom Crossing for the Chalk Eaters.
Eternal
That's
Horizons.
good stuff.
Eternal
That's good
Horizon.
stuff.
It's one, in my opinion, one of their best.
So
No,
yeah, even though, but
perfect.
I guess kind of to that original question, even though, and I think Baggins agrees, even though a lot of people could view Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley to be similar to Animal Crossing, they are different enough that I think I don't know, I don't think there's that much crossover in the appeal.
So I would put them in the same cozy game genre. But
Yeah.
but the
Definitely a
actual
cozy
way you
game,
play
yes.
it is different.
Yeah. Because, like, I think what it is people that play Stardew Valley just to relax, it probably works for them a lot better because they just kind of want to build stuff and decorate stuff. I mean, my daughter absolutely loves, Animal Crossing New Horizons. But for a min-maxer like me, I can't fully, like, I kind of just get frustrated at Animal
I want
Crossing.
to give myself over to this, but it won't let me.
Yeah, it won't. Yes, I want to win. I want to. It's like.
Well, it was too easy. I was just like, oh, turnips, bam, money problem's done.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
It
just
doesn't
didn't
appeal to
enjoy-
me the same way.
Like I've played it a lot, and it just the character interactions were so very pasted on that I did end up losing interest after a while. Also, crippling debt simulator isn't really what I'm looking for.
So I know some people are like, "Oh, crippling debt simulator." I'm like, dude, if my banks in real life would charge me 0% interest and with no due dates, I would think that's the most amazing thing ever. I honestly think Tom Nook gets a bit too much criticism because he's
and
the
the market
kindest
can
lender in
sometimes
the
give
planet.
me 3
Listen-
to 4 times return.
Listen to the Tom Nook apologist here, selling out to
Thanks.
Big Nook.
Hey, dude, I've had to deal with real banks, so after that, I'm like, man.
Hey, we
wish
promised
more banks were
politics
like that.
at the beginning, and here we
Darn
go.
straight.
Oh boy.
I didn't think
But
Tom
sure,
Nook
I'll
would be
be a
able to
Tom
destroy
Nook
this.
apologist because I think he gets an unfair bad rap.
So is this like
Wait,
a
was
body
that
made
thing
of
built
eyeballs?
of eyeballs?
Yeah, I had the exact same response.
I guess this is the final boss we're seeing here.
Oh, that was the final fight.
It was
like
indeed.
It stops here. Ken, Ken, come back to Earth immediately. The cyboplasm infestation has become epidemic. What? We need your help.
What?
I'm so glad that y'all are finally able to appreciate this.
I'm on my way.
It has become epidemic.
This is the end of the video. Like, what's gonna... He's gonna punch a hole in the earth?
Yep, he's gonna punch the earth, and that's the end.
This is how it ends. That's
What
it.
a cop-out!
There's an epidemic, and that's the end.
It looks like he's gonna punch the earth.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying.
He's gonna punch out the epidemic.
Well, it's the Falcon punch where the planet explodes, right?
Why didn't we try this during COVID? Just punch it.
Just do the side.
Because this game was too obscure, they didn't know.
It's One Punch Man.
One punch.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay, we can go back to watching regular stuff now.
All right, now I can move to one I had queued up.
Now that the acid trip is done.
Now that the acid trip is done.
Man, the drugs are wearing off. Did that really happen?
I don't know how many people are still on this journey with us, but thank you for staying with us.
So, there's a little game called Worms Armageddon.
Flames.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so the story with this one for me... The story of this one for me is me and my friends, my high school friends, we decided to have a very poorly named sleepover. So we went over to our friend's house. There was like 4 of us there for a sleepover. We didn't sleep. We played Worms Armageddon the entire night.
Into the night, huh?
Yeah.
There's a lot of settings here. Let me skip ahead.
we played this in the computer lab in my keyboarding class because everyone always ended up finishing our work within like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And once we were done, we just played a game that somebody, I don't know who, and like I literally don't know who this is.
Some hero
had installed, because they installed this one and they installed Unreal Tournament.
Oh, nice. But man, Worms Armageddon, I mean, the humor in this game is spot on, and this is just, we just, the whole night around, just one more match, and we just had so much fun, and we literally played it until it was 7 a.m, so it's like, the parent of the person whose house we were at woke up, and, we were still playing. We hadn't gone to bed, we didn't sleep at all, so... we eventually just went home at like 8 a.m, and we all went to, sleep in our own beds at home because we were tired from playing Worms Armageddon all night long. But man, I don't know if you guys how familiar everyone is with this game, but the weapons in here are fantastic. The one we like to...
I mean, this is turn-based. It's like Scorched Earth, except with worms, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
with worms and, references
Scorched
to
Earth.
movies and stuff. Like, our favorite weapon is the Holy Hand Grenade.
Oh, yes.
Which you chuck the Holy Hand Grenade, and it's made to look like the Monty Python Holy Hand Grenade. And it hallelujah! And then a giant explosion. It's amazing. There are lots of other Worms games, but I don't know. I haven't really been able to get into any of them as much as Worms Armageddon.
Yep, Armageddon was the absolute peak.
And like some people would like really get into using the ninja rope in Worms Armageddon. Because, normally you could just, walk around a little bit on your turn and then shoot a weapon. But with the ninja rope, you could just grapple hook around and get like...
You could basically Spider-Man into...
Did they have a console port of this at all, or was this strictly PC only?
It was on consoles as well, I believe.
Yeah, I think there was console versions, but I don't know. I kind of feel like you had to do this. But and even the voices in this game were hilarious. Like, I remember my friend always liked to choose the voice of the angry Scots.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was just, so great. But yeah, no, had so much more to it than Scorched Earth did, and you could launch people, and I don't know, it's just a fantastic game, and we played it way too much that night.
It's a good example of taking a solid just concept that someone else came up with and actually finding a spin to put on it that makes it different, that gives the personality.
Well, because Scorch was very, very basic graphics. It was a great game, but the graphics were very basic. And they're just like, let's make it fun.
Scorch, you're just basic tanks, and I mean, you basically only had like a couple different, I mean, I guess in Scorched Earth you had a few different weapon types.
You had several different weapon types.
But compared to Worms, not that much. Worms just had so much.
But just so you know, you were asking about consoles. Here are the platforms that it was on, or has been on: Microsoft Windows, Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Game Boy Color, N64, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X/S.
Wow, I wonder how well the Game Boy Color version played. Goodness.
Probably better than you expect, but worse than you'd hope.
That sounds about like the Game Boy Color.
Sounds about right. Wait. It has modern systems on there. It's probably just they've
been ported.
Probably just a port, yeah.
Well, I saw something. They're apparently doing like a remaster or...
though that tells me that even the developers recognize that Armageddon is still the pinnacle, considering like they make a new game and then they make a port of Worms Armageddon for the system. They don't just say, nope, the new game's the new one. They still make a port of this one.
Right.
I mean, you could either keep trying to, iterate on something, or you can just take what works and keep doing it. Because your other option is to turn into like, Star Fox, where they keep trying to iterate on it, and it's just like, kind of just want 64.
Well, I mean, they do iterate on it. They just do this too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to understand whenever you do it is what is the part that everyone loves. What's the core thing?
Oh my goodness. And yeah, when the worms die, they're little dying lines, which we don't have the sound on, but I just in my head heard the "I'm doomed."
Oh, it was great.
Just great.
All right. So someone here, some wonderful person, I put WoW because I felt like I had to.
Fair enough.
Because I've definitely played way too much of that way late into the night. But I think this works for any MMO. And this is once again what we've been discussing, where it's like there's achievable goals within sight. There's, people, things to interact with, so that it is still novel, even if you're going through it again. My main character was a blood elf priest named Healthcare, and Baggins gets all the credit for that name because he inspired it.
Indeed.
And I'd get compliments on that name. That's all that mattered.
Did you get more compliments than spliced beef?
Oh, definitely more compliments than spliced beef, but I will say the spliced beef event was definitely the most fun I've ever had messing with people in a video game.
Well, the other thing about MMOs is they're also a social, like a socialization platform.
Yeah.
So like if you've got a good guild or free company or whatever they call it in the game that you're playing, you might just be, running around doing mindless stuff while you chat with your friends.
Yeah, well, because, and especially with the worldwide nature of games now, there's just always someone who's there.
Yep. Well, because it's always game time somewhere in the world.
Exactly. I believe I've seen that quote somewhere.
It's
always
game
game-
o'clock somewhere.
Yeah,
It's high noon somewhere. I think I played that.
different game, but similar. But no, the other thing that I really liked just about WoW in particular is just the fact that they sit here and there's so much stuff to do, yet the quest system would guide you, very similar to what you guys were talking about with Satisfactory, where it's just, oh, I can do this thing. And it's like, okay, I can complete this quest line. And it doesn't seem like that big of an ask. And then you look up and you're just like, where did the time go? I swear I had more. Turned out you didn't. But yeah, just felt like I had to at least point out MMOs here. Another one that one more turn, roguelike, FTL. First of all, the game's music is so relaxing.
Ben Prunty is a genius. I just like everything
Yeah.
that everything
All
he
two
makes, I
things.
listen to.
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's not the development studio. But yeah. It's just, for a game that's so bleak in what the actual storyline is, the music is just so relaxing. I love it. Because, you actually follow the plot. It's like, oh man, everyone's dying. That's not happy.
Including me, because I still haven't beat it, because it's
Get
one of
good,
those
scrub.
where...
Yeah, I was like, oh, get better.
Well, I'm just saying it's one of those games
you?
that, like, yeah, I made it to the final boss. Yeah, I beat the final boss, and oh crap, it's not the final form, and I'm hosed. I'm not ready for it. Dang it. I have to go through the whole game again, and this time prepare for that. And I'm like, I don't feel like doing that right now.
You fool, this isn't even my final form.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, this would definitely qualify for kind of a time transport thing. It was never staying up late though, because my guilty secret is I would play this during my lunch break at work.
Ah.
Nice.
And boy, that break sometimes lasted longer than you would expect.
Hopefully your boss
You're
didn't
just like-
notice how long those lasted.
Well, seeing that I'm no longer at that job anymore, I feel okay saying that, and not because of it. It was because I was just so bored. I could do this sort of thing too much.
Yeah.
I mean, did you do it at the office, or... Say what?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I mean, I guess actually, I think that employer's that's my current employer, right? I'm pretty
yes,
sure.
yes, it is.
So,
How interested are you guys in doxing yourselves?
It sounds like.
I'm just no. When I think about it, I'm like, okay. When I think of that office, what was at the office? Oh yeah, how many RetroPie stations were set up at that office? Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I just do it in a cubicle. I mean, that's all there was to it.
Because there were multiple cubicles where it's like, oh, no one sits here at this desk. I'm like, and so that's why you have an emulator machine running? Correct. Okay, got it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Continue.
So at the office I was at, there were some cubicles. There wasn't an employee there, but someone who was nearby, set up a small machine with NES and SNES controllers and an emulator. Yeah, to take let's call them pirate lunch breaks. Yeah, there we go.
A euphemism for nothing. Accomplishing nothing.
I would do great. I would do a run, and heck, I'd maybe get 2 if I was doing well.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome, actually. I can't make runs that quick, but I pause for every single moment.
Well, yeah, I kind of like, oh well, pausing is for the weak.
Yeah. Pausing is just save scumming in real time.
Sure.
Yeah.
But is it like, for me, it became a turn-based game the way I played it.
Well, I feel like the starter ships were just so terrible.
That's a good offer, actually.
But
No, I like the starter ship. It's just basic, but I think it works pretty well.
I guess I just needed to get good at it.
Yeah, maybe you didn't get the get the strats.
Well, it's a game knowing sort of the difficulty curve. It's very similar to XCOM in that regard, where it's just like, I'm going to need to have this by then, or I'm doomed.
Well, I mean, as someone who likes to, over level in RPGs, I have to kind of tell myself to play differently, to play a roguelike of this nature,
Yeah, that definitely, you can't play it the same way.
Because, and it's also not like Rogue Legacy or Hades, where your failed attempts can power you up for your next attempt.
Yeah, there's no way to save your progress. It's just over.
Exactly. And that, I think that's a big
other
thing
ships, but
for
that's
me.
all, yeah.
And I think the nature of the roguelites that let you, still have progression between runs, I think that's enough to make it easier for me to continue to play. Whereas ones that I just completely start over, I just often feel like well, it's like I didn't even, I don't know. Granted, I don't have that problem with Balatro, which I think about it definitely fits.
A little less investment. I don't know what you're talking about. I definitely haven't lost hours upon hours of sleep to Balatro. That's not happened.
I don't.
Sure.
I don't know what Balatro is, and at this point, I'm afraid to ask.
So, okay, Balatro. You know poker, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is if poker got a roguelike sequel.
Poker 2 Electric Boogaloo.
It really, so basically each card is worth a certain number of chips, which is basically the face value of the card. And then there's multipliers. The rarer the hand, the more the multiplier tends to be. But then you also have joker cards that go up into a stack on top, and each joker changes the behavior of cards in your deck, just has different interactions.
They're power-ups, essentially.
Yeah. And so you might get one that affects your hand, where it's like, oh, every time you play an even card, you get +3 to your multiplier. But then you might get something that instead gives you more money at the end of each round so that you can buy more stuff. You can level up certain hands. So, it's a legit strategy to do high card only for certain abilities, because you might get a card that just gives you a base amount of chips but limits your hand size. And so you're not going to be able to do complicated stuff. So you're aiming for more repeatable stuff that is easy to do. Oh, there we are.
I mean, and the jokers can, the powers they give you can totally, break the original game of poker. One combination I had once where a straight only requires 4 cards, and
a straight and a flush. It's on one joker. Straights and flushes only require 4 cards.
Yeah, only require 4 cards. And then I had another card that says, straights you can skip over a number, so you could go 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's a straight. But yeah, when I only had to do 4 and I could skip numbers, there's no way I didn't have a straight in every hand.
Yeah, well, and then the weird one with the one where it's 4 is it's easy to get straight flushes, because you can get a straight that's 2, 3, 4, 5, but if 3 of them are the same suit, then you just got to get another card that's the same suit, because flushes are also only 4 cards. And so you have 4 cards that make a flush and 4 cards that make a straight. And it's like, oh, that's a straight flush, even though what you have is 2, 3, 4, 5, 9.
Flush.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't take advantage of that.
No, because the first time I did it, I didn't think it would work like that. And then it did.
I didn't realize it worked like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then it
that
does.
blows
And
my
you're just
mind.
like,
I wish it, oh man.
You just suddenly are like, oh my good. But the thing is, the game becomes really hard to play because you start having to really bend your mind to be like, okay, wait, all right, I just need another spade, but I also need a 4. Okay, so if I throw away this spade, what are the odds? You just start going through it, and it changes how you think about it. And it's the same thing we're talking about nerd sniping the game. This is probability sniping the game. I love Balatro. It's become my I'm listening to something.
Was this year 2024 Game of the Year?
That would have been mine, yeah. And plus, it was made by one dude, so I like it even more for that reason. Which that guy's got to be Jimbo has got to be swimming in money.
Well, he chose I'm pretty sure he chose a free game engine that he didn't have to pay anyone for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he used not Godot. He used Love, which honestly, that's the only time I've ever heard of that engine. The Love engine. I've never heard of it before, but that's what Balatro was made in.
See, and for me, it's so completely derivative. I'm sick of sequels and no, this is actually a very original concept, ironically.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those games that it's easy to pick up, difficult to master type of thing. And the other thing, because of certain combinations, there's actually a point where if your score gets above a certain threshold, the numbers cease to be in a standard notation and will switch to scientific.
Oh, wow. I haven't had that happen yet.
You have to have certain combination because, like, for example, there's one card called the Hanging Chad or Joker that re-triggers the first card you play 2 additional times. But then you have some cards like I think it's called the Square Joker, which the first face card you play doubles your score. Well, you combine these 2 cards, that means it's doubling your score 3 times, so it's 8 times in your score. But there are cards that can duplicate other cards. And you can start to see how these exponential effects can start to get out of
hand.
Very out of hand. See, I like what you did there. It was clever. I like good work. And so you can start to get hands that are just bizarre, but at the same time, you start having to do math. You're like, okay, wait, I have this copy card. Do I want to copy the thing that doubles it, or do I want to, you have to, I don't know, I have to sometimes bust out like a pen and paper and start like, okay, wait, do I want to, you start trying to figure it out. Okay.
And you're getting on some nerd sniping. I mean, like, you have 60 copper ore that I can melt into 30 ingots.
I want to make something quite clear. I get nerd sniped. It's just different games that'll nerd snipe you.
Sure. Yeah. No, you're getting sniped on this one.
Yeah. Hardcore on this one. The game is so freaking good.
I mean, man, I thought I had some ridiculously high scores, but yeah, no, I never got to scientific
notation.
I've only done it I've only done it. You have to start getting to once you get past like 100 billion. It almost makes me
wonder if in the game he switches from integers to floating point at that point.
I don't know. Well, so because that's the other thing I like is the goal is to get past ante number 8. Essentially, but the game continues past ante 8 if you want to, but I
always do. I never quit early.
Oh yeah, you want to see how high you can get, but the point is, it's like, okay, you've beaten it, and it's like, all right, now here's your ridiculous hard mode to see how crazy it can get. It's one of my things that another game I like, Peglin, same thing, where it's a roguelike, but Peggle. If Peggle was an RPG and a roguelike, and you start to get these insane combos, and then you beat the final level, it's like, all right, it's done. And I'm like, I need an infinite mode. I have a really busted combo. I want to see how far I could go with this. And it's like, no, it's over. It's done.
Balatro's great for that. That's for sure.
Like, I don't want it to be done. It's too bad. It's done. Dang it. No, Balatro's amazing. Well, then the other thing is they have the boss fights where it then like puts a condition upon the fight where suddenly like all your spades are deactivated, or you can't do any repeat hand this turn, or if you play your most played hand, it reduces your money to 0.
Yeah, those usually, if I have a ridiculously busted combo, it's one of those that usually kills me, because it's like, oh, we just deactivated your combo and now there's no way you could possibly
but then it brings into, like, when you have some of those jokers that are like, if you sell this during the boss fight, it'll deactivate the boss fight ability. And so you'll start to like look at those, you're like, I have a pretty good 4-card combo going on right here. Do I want this one? I can't increase it, but it would make it so that I don't get blocked by that one thing that could definitely stop me. And so it makes you make interesting decisions, which I think is the heart of any good roguelike.
So what is the origin of the name Balatro? Do you know, or?
I believe it's like an archaic term in poker. I looked it up one time.
Huh.
Let me see here. Here's a Reddit thread. It was the name of the name for a professional jester in Roman times.
Okay, so instead of Joker.
Yeah, so and everything's based on jokers and stuff. So that makes sense.
But there's not a Balatro Joker. Interesting.
The main one, the Jimbo card, I think it's called, where it's just a solid plus 40 or multiplier. I think
the one that we see on the screen right now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so that's supposed to be that Balatro. Okay.
Yeah, that's Jimbo. He's sort of the mascot. Well, and now they've gone nuts because they were so successful. A bunch of the other indie games, even some non-indie games, have offered their properties to him. And so now for free, you can change your face cards to be from other things. Like some of them are other indie games like
Stardew Valley
and Shovel Knight. But like there's Witcher 3 is one of them as well. There was one more that was like, oh, that's actually a fairly mainstream series. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like the guy who made it, he's been so successful beyond belief, and he just made the game by himself over the course of a few years. So he doesn't have like a budget the way other games would. So everything he's made is kind of, well, it's not gravy. Like he invested the time, but so he's just bringing things, like he just wants to pay it forward type of thing, which I think is pretty awesome. Yeah, let's see. Shovel Knight, Don't Starve, The Witcher, Among Us, The Binding of Isaac, Cult of the Lamb, Slay the Spire, that's another big one. Potion Craft, Warframe, Enter the
this list
of the cards that he's so you can customize your face cards, where they'll have like characters from that series, and they're free. Like it just comes with the game now, and just crossing over with other indies and some non-indies, like some that you're like, that's a AA developer. Stardew Valley is one of them. I forget who makes Warframe. Vampire Survivors, that's the other one. It's like there's another one that I play. What is it? But no, it's just it's such a good success story. And Cyberpunk, that was the other one. Obviously with Witcher, that makes sense. But yeah, it's interesting that the running theme for all this tonight is just, you can sort of lose your yourself in any good game, but the ones that make you just keep wanting to play, there's something special about those games that make you not want to sleep, especially the younger I was. The older I get, the more I find it difficult to say to myself, yeah, I don't want sleep. I want to play one more turn. Because the older I get, it's like, I really like sleep. So yeah.
I still hate sleep, but just needs to be done.
I like sleep, but it doesn't like me, and so I have to chase it down every night.
Well, that doesn't sound like a healthy relationship.
It really isn't.
All right, well, let's wrap this up as we're approaching 10 o'clock here. Gang, let's start with Petrivka. Do you want to promote anything?
Nothing personally, but I do live in Los Angeles. I would like to put a plug for calfund.org. If you would like to donate, I know personally a few people who've lost homes, and so it's hard right now. So you can.
Are you out of the danger zone?
I'm fine, but yeah, there are other people who aren't.
Yeah. All right, Lunasar.
Well, that's a hard one to follow up. I hope that people can get the help they need and that the fires can be contained. I don't have anything in particular. That I guess I could always just promote Lizzie's stream, Lizzie Petrichor at Twitch, and yeah.
All right, Baggins.
Yeah, I agree with Petrivka. That's definitely important. As for myself, I've got another podcast with Splice. It's called the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. If you're a fan of Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, we basically discuss it every other week. We record Mondays, or every other Monday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And then we release episodes on Wednesdays. Our most recent one, we did our recap of the Dragonsteel Nexus convention from this past December that we attended, and you should definitely check it out.
It was a ton of fun.
It really was.
All right. And then you all can find me, twitch.tv/splicestream, as always, or my YouTube channel, which if you're listening to this, you are at right now. But yeah, I have been playing a lot of Path of Exile 2, and I'm actually on tomorrow. We have our game show, The Quizzard. I have some work that needs to get done for it, and I just haven't been able to find some of the time. So we're going to do it live on stream so people can help with that too if they so desire. If helping make a video game trivia show sounds fun to you, come check it out.
Well, cool. Guys, it's getting late, so I think we overleveled.
I'm staying up forever.